retail.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
You go first. Thank you. We also have some slides. Wow, that's great. So hi, hello everyone. Thank you for joining. I think that being together at these kind of events is really important in order for us to share from our experience and to learn from each other. So this is great. Thank you for being here. Thank you Fortenova Group and Start for doing this together. This is really great. Now, just a few words about myself and what was the message that I want to send from here to you. I'm a customer engineer at Google. This means that I cover the technical part, the dirty gritty stuff from roadmap to mission and then to implementation, solution architecturing, and then services down to code. And my scope in the organization is to see that the projects initiated by our teams, by our customers, lead to fruition. Now, having said that, next. Us at Google, right? This is our mission, to organize the world's information and to make it universally accessible. And my God, this is a bold mission. This is a bold statement. And we see with each year that we gather more and more data, and not only us at Google or at the society, right? But even in our organization and in our companies, we see more and more data piling up, and we really need to make sense out of it, especially with the new thing coming up with LLMs, like you just throw a bunch of text there and then it will magically make sense out of it. So this is from where we approach various projects. And then, okay, how are we doing internally? In order to preach these kind of things, first we need to execute, and then we're able to help. And us, internally, we're executing. We've implemented AI in almost any of our products. And then again, we have 8 products that have over 1 billion customers, 1 billion users on a monthly basis. 8. Think of, I don't know, from Maps to Gmail to Android to Chrome to YouTube to whatever. So that's where we stand. And what do we give back? Well, we've opened up our platform on Google Cloud with Vertex AI, and we know that AI and ML is not a flavor for anyone. You know, like you don't have the silver bullet that will, a single solution that will fix everything. So we've said, okay, let's take it in layers. The first layer there, you see the pre-trained APIs and AI solutions. This means that we own the models, we own the data that the models are trained, and we just expose an API, right? And there, okay, we have this nice drifting car, but just think of, I don't know, translate, right? So we control end-to-end and we expose an API. Okay, that's nice. But what if, for example, in this case, I don't want to track any kind of car, but I want to track a nice BMW which is red, and the API is not aware of that? Well, then we move to the end-to-end AI core tools, and then we train our models. Okay, but there's a big gap between them. So what do we do with the tabular data? A lot of companies have tabular data, right? And then we're saying, okay, just throw them somewhere, you know, like in a storage bucket, and then put an analytical engine on top, and that's BigQuery ML. Okay, that's nice. So what's our path to success? Well, in order to build the first ML solution, of course, you need to identify the business problem. Okay, that's great. We have a lot of problems. Thank you. We know that. Then develop the hypothesis. That's nice. It needs a bit of thinking, but that's nice. Acquire and explore data. I think this is the biggest challenge that we have right now, because everything else, you know, like you just put 5 people in a room and bam, that's brainstorming. Build a model. Model right now are a commodity with AutoML and all this kind of stuff. Anyone can train models, and then apply it and scale. That's really hard. And I think this is why we're here, to see how we together, we passed through this journey, and right now we are applying it to scale. That's the hard part. Okay, this is a really nice way of us presenting what's available right there. Okay, any flavor for anyone, I won't focus on it, but I would focus on this, right? So how do we start? First, you need a C-level sponsorship. Without this, usually this would be, just a simple project, nice to have, or a pet project for someone in the team. If you don't have this, it won't fly on a commercial level. It will just sit somewhere in a repository. And then define a machine learning use case that can generate significant value. Actually, significant value should have been bold, right? Because when we talk commercial inside the company, we need to bring value and then try to commercialize the stuff. You cannot have any of these without the data and the ability to move it to, move it into Google Cloud, but then again, gather data as much as possible, become hoarders, right? Like whatever data point you have, just save it. Storage right now in cloud is the cheapest resource that you can leverage. So just save it there and use it later. And of course, then you have the data of the team of data scientists and the software engineers. And okay, so we have this recipe. This is really generic, right? Like we have, when it comes to developing a solution, like cooking, like being in the kitchen, we have all the ingredients. These are the services provided by Google Cloud. And then we have the recipes, and these are all the open projects that we have. And then again, what about the execution, right? What about who's the cook? Who prepares the dinner right now? And this is why I thought that it's the best way to share with you how we are actually executing this by sharing the great story that we have with Fortenova Group and start with the data labs there and how we approach this project and how we created this successful story. And just before passing the baton, I remember that 1.5 years ago, we were going through this, like okay, let's find a C-level sponsor, okay, like navigate the organization, find the sponsors, and then define the machine learning. And we've said, okay, what should we tackle first? And that was, okay, category management, right? That's one of the big things in retail. Okay, but what category? Do we want something, like easy to handle? That would be too easy. Do we want something, like more complex? Okay, let's take something that has, like a high margin so that we can also showcase the value. Okay, let's do wines. Why not, right? Okay, so and then we started building up the team with the data scientists. There's a lot of, culture change and training the teams, and that's a great journey, and this is what I would like to hear coming next. So, moving forward.
Well. Thank you, Horia, not just for the remote, but for the general support of Google in our project. Just a quick introduction. So Fortenova is the largest retail group and food producer in the region of Southeast Europe. It spans over 5 countries. It includes 5 retail operations, many food production companies and agriculture companies. So as such, Fortenova is a really data-rich company. And each of its business areas has a lot of potential to be transformed by data-driven insights. So the Fortenova started the project of Data Lab around 1.5 years ago, and by now the project has grown, and its heart presents several feature teams that deal with top priority areas that can be transformed, as Horia mentioned. So, for instance, some of these areas are optimization of assortment, then the usual part of the retail, it's the demand forecasting in the supply chain, and of course, it's also the promotion optimization. So, promotions are one of the most lucrative parts of the retail industry, but also at the same time, it's one of the least optimized area of retail. So what's the issue with promotions? With promotion and promotion planning and promotion execution, It's a highly complex process. It includes many interacting teams from trading, category managers, analysts, marketing, supply chain management, all the way to in-store implementation of promotions. So our current focus in our use case is on the work of category managers, that is the promotion planning. So in our initial investigations, we found out that the job of category managers is a pretty stressful one. So it includes many tight and strict deadlines in a really complex roadmap, which repeats every month. So we've also identified several key pain points in their work, both decision-making related pain points and some of the business process related pain points, such as, for instance, they are often relying on limited past analysis of data, and most often they usually rely on gut instincts to select which items to put on promotions, which promotion mechanisms to apply, and especially in estimating the impact of their promotions. So they also, for instance, lack the good data-backed leverages so when in negotiating with their suppliers, and for the most part, they spend too much time in manipulating spreadsheets and manually communicating with all the other teams in the process. So what we aim with our use case is to ease the decision-making by automating promotion evaluation, promotion simulation, and promotion recommendation, and to facilitate the processes by building an integrated platform which will be a single source of truth for all the parties included in the process. And for this purpose, we are building 4 modules. One is the general monitoring of the promotion performance. Then we have the module which provides in-depth analysis of past promotions with advanced features. Then we have a module that simulates future promotions in terms of sold quantities, turnover margins, and overall profitability. And finally, we are building a recommender system that will recommend the best parameters for a specific promotion. It means selecting products, prices, promo mechanics, and rebates. So the first 2 models are the basis for a tool we built, we call the Advanced Promo Analyzer. So in order to provide this advanced analysis, we've broken down the effect of putting one item on promotion into several components. It is first of all, it's the accurate assessment of baseline sales, which by baseline sales, it's the sales of what would sales be if the item wasn't on promotion, which also means that we have a more accurate assessment of a promotional uplift. So we have another driver or effect that can increase the uplift. It's the halo effect that occurs when we have increased sales of other related products when we put one product on promotion. Then we have an effect, a negative effect, called cannibalization, which is an effect when we have a decrease in sales of similar products when we put one item on promotion. And of course, there is also a pull forward effect. It's the effect of stockpiling products in a promotion. And then by combining all these components, all these drivers, we are able to assess a true incremental turnover or incremental margin and assess the performance of a particular promotion. So for simulating the baseline of sales, we trained a counterfactual forecasting model. It was trained on about 2 years of historical sales data, and for this purpose we achieved the best results with XGBoost implementation of gradient boosted algorithm, and through this model we achieved around 17% weighted absolute percentage error, and which was a vast improvement over the existing way that category managers estimated the baseline sales. So for the cannibalization effect, we built a model that was a combination of 3 scores, or of a weighted combination of 3 scores. The first is a similarity score, which is done through a basket analysis of around 20 million baskets to see which products can be substitutable. For this purpose, we used the words-to-vec algorithm, which is usually an NLP algorithm, but in this instance, we used it to create product embeddings. So it's, in our case, it's a prod-to-vec algorithm. And then we compared them with cosine similarity. So another score was the simple correlation coefficients to get the signals when we have a decrease in sales of a combination when one product is on promotion and the other is not. And the third was another measure of association between the combination of products. For this purpose, we used the Yule-Skew coefficient. So for the halo effect, to assess the halo effect, we used the efficient a priori implementation of association rules algorithm. So the algorithm finds pairs of products that are often bought together. It's somewhat a standard in basket analysis in retail. So, and to compute the impact of this effect, we estimated the revenue generated by new baskets, often an item that was put on promotion. So, we were able finally to truly assess which promotions are efficient and which are not, and we categorize them into 4 categories of good promotions, tactical bad promotions, or destructive promotions. Which also provide the guidelines and recommendations for considering those promotions in the future. So we presented also these results in a dashboard built in Google's Looker Studio. So now category managers have the access to all the historical data, in-depth analysis of each of the drivers of the promotion, and they can assess it on a desired level when they want it. And so for the simulate module we call the promotion volume estimator. We trained a model that is a multi-step time series model with a 60-day horizon in order to emulate the way that the category managers also estimate the impact of their planned promotions. So for this one, we also used the XGBoost regression, but which was trained on a bit more data and a lot more features for this purpose. So regarding the features, we use the date features, promo date features like day of the week, month, working hours, or some external data like special days in retail we got from the domain experts, and time horizon days and weeks, and also promo features regarding the type of promotion, item metadata, and of course the most important are the sales and price features, which also consider the time series features like lags of sold quantities and prices. So for the model iterations, we compare them with WAPE and bias, and feature importance was analyzed using FastShap Shapely library. And we evaluated the models by backtesting on all promo dates in promo period regard to the prediction date, similarly to what the category managers also do, and which is also our main benchmark for the model. It's the comparison with the CM's average absolute percentage error. So on the current scope of product categories that we deal with, the model performs on average 10 percentage points better than CM's, which is so far really good. So we deployed the model on Google's Vertex pipelines, using Google's Vertex pipelines and Vertex endpoint. We developed an MVP of a web app so that the users can see the results of the model using the Streamlit, which was easily deployed using Google's app engine. And this setup enabled us to quickly move to the testing period of the model so that our end users can give us feedbacks really easy. They can test the model in their everyday work. And give us the feedback, and sometimes even get the response and fixes in the course of the day. Our tech stack is, because we rely heavily on the agile methodology, relies heavily on Atlassian tools for working in an agile environment, and of course it relies heavily on the whole range of Google's products. For the data management, and the data warehousing, it's the Google BigQuery, Google Cloud Storage, the whole range of stuff you can find in Vertex AI and App Engine, and the Looker Studio is also a great tool to develop really fast dashboards, which can also be used in production, and they are today. So our full scope vision is to unite all of these modules, all of these tools in a recommender system that will be also present in a more developed UI tool, which we call the promo tool, and which we hope that not only it will improve the particular promotional work in each of these retail operations, but what we hope that through its use, it will unite all the business processes at the level of the whole Fortenova group. And this is pretty much it. Thank you very much for your attention. So, questions, please.
I would have a question just before everyone gets their chance. So I'm curious, this project took you for what, 1 year, 1.5 years since the inception of the idea until this level of maturity that you're having?
Well, since inception of the idea, it's 1.5 years, and the real work started, of course, with gathering and cleaning the data around a year ago.
And I'm curious, in this year, what would be your lesson learned, your main lesson learned that you would like to share with everyone? I'm really curious. How do you bring this to production and then scale?
bringing it to production after the models have already been made, and with Google tools, it's really pretty simple, especially the deployment of the model and taking care of it. But the hardest part was, as usual in data science, it was dealing with the data. For some of the companies, we had to start from scratch to gather all the data, clean them, combine them, and put them in a warehouse in BigQuery.
Yeah, I totally, so with most of the projects that I engage, again, it's data. So I highly recommend also based on your lesson learned, like start gathering data as soon as possible. Don't throw it away, become a hoarder and just put it there, right? It's cheap, put it there, you don't know when you'll be using it.
Oh, I agree.
Wolf again.
Thanks for the talk. I'm curious about about some buy-in in the organization, because the first point was quite rightly C-level, C-level, C-level. Yeah, we know, but bottom-up is top-down is important. But what about the uptake then during the project? So, what about the category managers, for example? Did they like what you're doing? All of them? Some of them?
Well, first of all, at first they were really confused with even with some of the parts, some of the drivers that they haven't had the opportunity to use in their work because they didn't have access to data. First of all, so it took a while to change their approach and change their will to work with these tools that we are developing. But through using an agile methodology, we work with them on almost on a daily basis, and going through onboarding processes, to training them through workshops, and we gather feedback almost on a daily basis. So in time, some of them at least learned to love and use these tools in their everyday work.
And can you say what made the difference in terms of this close collaboration? Or
What made the difference is when they started to notice the effects these tools have on their work. So when they started to notice that they can see exactly which of the promotions were worked pretty bad last year or in the last period, they now know that they won't repeat such promotions. They know which promotions to repeat, and they have a lot less problems with dealing with the standard Excel spreadsheets, and that's what really helped in our collaboration.
Thanks.
Then, if we don't have any other questions, thank you again for being here, and I hope this was really insightful. We have one question there in the back.
Thank you. We just have the time. Thank you for the talk. I'm just curious, in your prediction model, what is the granulation of the prediction scope? Was it on the whole country, on a region, or a city, or store level? When you predicted the optimal promotions, the last segment when you advise on the optimal promotions, is it on a country level, on a region level, city level, or store level?
No, it's on a network level, on the national level, okay. The same way that the category managers also work.
Thanks.
And one of the last questions I have, do these category managers pay for the resources that you have, or you have a pool, you know, when everybody goes wild and you had there, you know, like a scenario builder and they can play with scenarios?
Yeah, they can play with the scenarios as much as they like. They don't pay for their tools because
I
they're
think
also developing them with us together.
I think that's one of the driving factors as well. So.
Okay. Thanks.
Okay, perfect. So thank you again.
Thank you very much.